And in short, I wanted to introduce Steve. He's going to be the presenter. He is over that area of the country, and he is a great resource for you, Bill. You'll be able to ask questions that you probably otherwise wouldn't think of without having seen some of the details that he's going to share with you. More importantly, though, this demo is for you to make sure that you feel satisfied knowing more about what we have to offer. I wanted to mention a few of the things that are unique and really standout features about going with TestOut and our curriculum. One, and you'll see this and it'll be proven to you, that it's engaging and effective. So it offers a methodology unlike Packet Tracer, which you're currently using. It also is it's compatible with Apple and Windows-based computers. There are some difficulties with that Packet Tracer being used consistently from machine to machine. That's not an issue for us. And it remains relevant and current. So we are constantly updating ours, not just from a technological perspective, but also the objectives that forever will change. We adopt them, adapt them. And that also means that it is far and away better than textbooks, which remain stagnant and certainly aren't engaging and offer their own irony, being teaching a subject matter that is a digitally based subject matter. Also, it means that as we progress, you and your school and your material remain relevant, which keeps you competitive and keeps you in the eyes of your students as being progressive. We also are designed for the instructor-led, blended, and online class model. So we're adaptable. You have perhaps older professors that are more instructor-led, or they lead their classes, and we can adapt to them, as well as moving towards the future to more online courses. So we're there for you and adaptable. We also remain, through the life of our relationship, as a resource for your teachers, meaning that naturally we'll onboard all your teachers that will currently use us and keep them present. We're always available, a phone call away. We're known for our service. We're located here in Pleasant Grove, Utah. And so we often answer our calls, requests for service within about 2 minutes time, which is unlike many other competitors, if any other. It also means that as new instructors are asked to teach courses or onboarded, that they get brought in just as fluidly. What that means, as schools change, as teachers change, we also change with you. You have those that are retiring and those that are coming on, and we're able to assist with that. There are no contracts involved, so we're working towards earning your business every single semester. And that is probably one of our strongest suits. So we react when we get feedback from instructors, from schools, and we try to adapt in order to really become a better tool for you all. There are a number of other things that Steve will go ahead and accent and fill out. But I want to ask you, Dean, is there anything that you want to make sure you walk away from, or walk away knowing from this demo? Are there certain questions you have, whether it's implementation, our services, how we can make it a smoother transition if things go that way, or just about the technology?
You know, I don't have anything particular than maybe some of the basic things that would normally come up, like you know, that maybe get answered in the demo, okay. Such as, you know, the type of you know, subscribing into it, in terms of like access codes, in terms of how it works in with the bookstore, if there are access codes, obviously integration with Canvas and that type of stuff. So I mean, nothing over, you know, specific at this point. You know, cost will be an issue or a question down the line too. Those types of things. Access maybe, as far as how is it, you know, is it a like on a subscription basis, is when does it time out? Do students have some access to it after this, the 4 months of class time? Those types of things.
Right.
You know, so
Okay.
yeah, we'll see how, you know, and if they're, I could wait till the end to ask, or if Steve's, you know, open to, you know, questions during his presentation. Either way, it works for me.
Okay. Well, I'll let Steve take over from here. And again, thanks for joining us. Let me ask one quick question. John, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I'm in on the conversation. I apologize for being a little bit late.
No, you're fine. We had a little technical difficulty. Everything's running smoothly now. Steve, I'll turn it over to you. And again, thanks for joining us.
Wonderful. Thank you. Hi, John. Hi, Bill. Bill, to answer that question, if you have any questions during this, please ask it. You know, I don't have a script I'm reading from. This is all about answering any questions you have, as well as giving you a solid introduction to what we do, how we do it. And I'm happy to answer those questions. Yes, students, we can work directly through your bookstore. We have ISBNs for all of our courses. They order just like they would a textbook. Well, maybe not just like, but similar to how they would a textbook. They contact us at the PO. We email them codes typically the same day. And so keeping them supplied, stocked is not a problem at all. Cost-wise, most all our courses are $129. That might not mean anything at the moment. Is it worth it? I guess that's what this demo is about. $129 a student has access for 18 months, meaning, yeah, well past that 4-month class time. If they choose to use it afterwards to certify, to enhance their skills, they can certainly do that. And the integration question we'll answer here right at the beginning of my demo. So I want to be as straightforward with you and answer those questions as they come up. So if you have others, feel free to interrupt. John, anything that you wanted to add before I begin?
No, other than the fact that I have used this before, and I do believe in this product. As far as certification goes, I think the 18 months access is a big thing. And I might add that I've never had a student who used this product who did not pass the certification test the first time around. So
Wow.
It seems to work. And the thing that I like the most about it is the relevant labs that accompany all the material and everything.
Right. Well, that says a lot about you.
Well, thank you. And I guess the other thing I want to mention is I don't use this as, just watch the videos and that's the class. This entire product is a supplement to what I'm already doing with my daily lectures and instruction.
I guess I was right. It says a lot about you and what you're doing within the class. If all of your students are passing, that's awesome. I'm not trying to minimize our role in that. I think we do a good job of preparing your students as well, but that's a great number. Okay.
Well, not all my students, but the ones that have attempted it have never failed on the first try.
Wow.
And that includes where I used to teach also.
Excellent. Okay. All right, Bill, I'm going to jump in, and I'm assuming you can see my screen, right? I'm just here at TestOut.com.
I can. I'm on.
Okay. So TestOut.com, student, if we're not integrated with your LMS with Canvas, then the student would come here, they'd click a button, they'd put in their username and password. They've gone to the bookstore, they purchased the courseware, we give them some instructions, go to testout.com, set up your username and password, and then from then on, I can't talk and type at the same time. Oops, I mistyped that too. There we go. Okay. So they would then come and log in here. If they were integrated, if we had with your Canvas, then they're just going to Canvas, putting in their username and password and logging in from here. They don't have to go to testout.com at all. They just come here, and then you have classrooms, classes set up, and they will just log on to, I don't have our Network Pro as a demo within this, but if I was working on Security Pro, I would just come over and click on it. I would go to the section that I was asked to do for the week. I would click on that assignment and it would log me straight into LabSim. So we'll do that, implementing physical security. So it will then just go and take them straight to the section or the material that you want them to do. In that process of setting up, here we are in LabSim. In the process of setting up integration, we have a whole team here that works with you, works with your LMS person. We've got it down to a science, so they will give them all they need. They'll help them set that up. We'll make sure it's working. We'll help test that, all that. And when you're setting up a class within it, there's shelves, and so you can just say, hey, this is the material I want them to go to. This is the gradable material. And then all of that is going back to Canvas into the gradebook automatically. So whatever you're saying is gradable goes back automatically. The student doesn't have to do anything. So they do their work within LabSim, they're done, and then, like I say, all those grades will go over. So integration is a great thing. It frees the instructor up to do to worry less about grading and putting grades in and working with individual students instead. And so because I don't have Network Pro in that Canvas material that I have, I'm going to go over. And so here I am. I've logged in to my account, my LabSim account as an instructor. Mine says ABC Colleges, we'll say Tidewater. These are the 3 classes that I'm pretend teaching right now, and I can look and see how my students are doing, and we'll look at this in a minute or two, or well, in a few minutes after I've gone through some of the material in the course. So if I want to look at a course, I just come up to this tab, My Products, and I can then just say, today we're going to talk about Network Pro, so I'm going to open up Network Pro. I would just click on it and it takes me right to where I was last time I was in and did some work, so I can just continue from here. Very intuitive. I mean, I go to the next section, I click the arrow, go back, I click that arrow. I can come down here and click this button, even though it's hid by my, well, and it'll bring up the whole section and I can navigate that way if I want. If I come up here, we have an outline button. Typically, the student won't have to use that because they'll just use these arrows to go to the next section, and when they're done, they finish. But I'm going to click this little sections button here, and it's going to open up the whole course. So here I am in Network Pro. Here are the different chapters of this ebook, if you want to look at it that way. There's an introduction in the introduction section. We teach the student how to use our simulator. Our simulators, and John, you can agree or disagree with this, I think they're the best in the industry. They simulate a lot of hardware and software and give the student a much needed hands-on experience and learning experience. And so we're going to, I'm sorry, John, did you have something to add?
No, I agree with that statement. Okay. It lets them take what we've learned in class and actually apply the principles and everything. Yeah, it's great. So here, hands-on experience.
We're going to teach them how to use the simulator because they need to know. Then they're into networking basics, and they're going to start with the OSI model and protocols, etc. And then let me get here to this section 2. I want to show you a little in here, and then we'll move to a little more in-depth section. So these are, yes, building on each other as they go through it, and they're going to be using basic concepts throughout the sections, building on each other. But here in cables and connectors, let me show you in this wiring implementation section just some of what our content looks like, Bill. These icons represent different types of learning for the student. So we want to get them give them a variety of learning methods. And as John has pointed out, what he does in his classroom, what we do is supplemental to what he's doing. We can be the main resource if you want it to be. We have a lot of schools that use it as, especially for online students, it is the material and they can go through it on their own if that's how they're teaching the class. But okay, so let's go in and look at some of this material. This icon represents a video. This is a written material. This is another video. This is a demonstration. And I'll show you what those look like. Then they get down to these computer mouse icons are the labs, the hands-on labs. And then at the end of every section, we have a little exam for them to take, some practice questions. And so let's look at these. I'll click on this one and it'll come up. It's going to be about twisted pair cable construction. I can play the video by itself or with a script. I really like the script, so let's play that. My apologies, you're not going to get audio here because for some reason the speakers aren't working, but this guy's talking and everything he's saying is over here and highlighted in blue as he's at that point, so the student can follow along with what he's saying. If they want, this script also gives them the ability, if they want to go to crossover cable, just go to that section and click on it and the video will go to that section automatically. So they can then have control of where they are. If they want to see it full screen, they can make it full screen. They can turn on closed captioning. They can customize that size of it, color of it, all that is available to them. They can go back to the script just by going back. And so it's not just looking at that instructor, it's some very good graphics of what they're doing and what they're talking about. They can print these if they want to make their own book. Typically students today, younger students today especially, don't want a book. They want to, but they could print these and make their own book if they wanted to for some reason. But they can scroll along with him and listen to him telling them how crossover cables work, etc. And my apologies, I'm going to click this outline button again just to say, okay, so we watched the video, we then read some material, watch another video, and then get down to these. So let's with that in mind, let me show you the written material. So you know, we tell them about tools and cables and how they all work. They can print these as well if they wanted. Then they're off to another video. I won't take the time to show you that. And then some more written material, and then they're actually taken into where they're going to get hands-on experience, these labs. So we're going to say you're a network technician for a small corporate network. Today you move an unused workstation to the IT administration office, and you need to connect this to the internet. So here's where they need to connect it in the networking closet, and this is what they need to do. They click start. We will take them into the simulation. What they're asked to do is kept over here. If they're at home on a laptop and screen space is valuable, we try and make it easy for them. The instruction, they don't have to hop between screens. It's all right here for them. Matter of fact, if they want to hide this, they can, so that they can have these be a little bit bigger, but yet they can bring this back up anytime they need to. So if I do a little of this lab, in the networking closet, use the appropriate twisted pair cable to make these connections to the patch panel and the switch. Okay. I need to learn about cable in this section and in class, so I know I'm going to be using Cat5, so I click on Cat5 cable here, and I then see both ends, RJ45s on both ends. I'm an old guy, so I have to zoom in. I won't tell you how old, but anyway. So I can then zoom in so I can see those connections, and I can then drag and drop with my mouse to the IT administration office port there, like I was told to do, and port 5. That's port 5. So if and you notice that it keeps track. This one's plugged in. I got to get rid of that. There we go. Yeah. This one's plugged in, and where it's plugged in, this one's still unconnected. Now I'm going to drag and drop. Yes, I could connect them to the wrong place. I could have plugged it in here. I could have plugged it in here. I could have made a mistake. We're not preventing them from doing the wrong thing. Okay, then I need to go over to the IT administration office and connect some things over there and see if I'm getting signal. So how do I do that? I come up here, and I'm working in the networking closet right now, and I can go over to floor 1 of this building I'm working in. So here I am working over here. I'm going to go over to the IT administration office, and I'm going to work on the hardware over there like it's asked me. So here I need to do some things, configure some things, and then make sure I'm getting signal. So I'm not going to take the time to do that, but I could go ahead and do all of that. I can look at the back of this. I can make any connections that I need there. If I was working on the laptop, I could do that. I could go into Windows 10 and configure it all right from here and accomplish these things. When the student believes they're done with those, they come up and they click done. It grades them. I got a 33%. Took me just under 3 minutes. All of this is being sent. If this was gradable material for Canvas, that grade's going to Canvas now. How long I spent, all of that data. The student gets instant feedback. We want to help remediate your students, and we want to give them instant feedback. You did this right, didn't do this wrong. We could get more details. I didn't do any of that, so I got it all wrong. We even give them an explanation of how they could do it if they want to go back in and do it. So I'll click done, and I could restart that lab and do it again. They can do these as many times as they want, but keep in mind we grade them every time, and we'll send that data to you, and it's within our system as well. Their highest, the lowest, their average, all the scores are kept, and you can grade accordingly on those. Okay. I was going to show you what.
Can I ask a question on the labs?
Please do.
So from the lab itself, is how modifiable is like the grading score and things like that? Because I saw it was like at 100%. Is there a point value aside? Can like an instructor go in there and like assign like a certain amount of points to it? Can they also say, hey, you have 3 attempts to do this? I'm just out of curiosity as far as the amount of modification.
Within LabSim, so you can't adjust. We're scoring, according to tasks that they do. Did I plug in the IT administration port? Did I plug into this port? And we're giving them a point for each of those tasks in here. We do not allow you, or for the instructor, to change those grades there. But the good thing about being integrated with Canvas is that Canvas will then allow you to assign, if they completed this with 100%, then you give them 10 points, or you give them 5 points, and so that's where those grading assignments are happening. And to be honest, more efficiently, because then you're not having to come in here and do all that. You just go into Canvas when you're setting
okay.
class.
Yeah, good enough.
Yeah. I wanted to show you. I logged back into this just to say, hey, we can do it again if we needed to. But I wanted to point out that we're not limited to just doing what is written right here, right? If I came over to the networking closet where I'm at now, and I zoomed in because I'm old, and I said, I'm going to unplug this Office 1 cord here. If I go over now to the Office 1, I can go to their hardware, and I can see that now, if I logged into that computer, I can see that he has no internet connection. If I go back over to that networking closet again, and I plug that back in, and I will come up and plug that end back in, and I go back over to the Office one, I will see that now I have internet connection, right? So it's very true to life. They mess up, they mess it up. They unplug that cord, the internet goes down in Office one. So they can begin to, even if they wanted, we're not asking them to do it, they can certainly mess around, do what they need to do. We're not going to dox them. If they did all this right and they disconnected that cord, we're not going to ding them for it. If they know how to do this, this is what this lab is all about. So it's very interactive for the student. Okay. Any other questions before I move? I'm going to go do another lab, but any questions on what you've seen so far?
No.
Okay. Let me, I'm going to go a little bit further into the material. So I'm going to go to this section 5 and do just a lab from there just to see how, and point out a couple other things of how these are building on each other. So if I come over to this section on DHCP server configurations, and I do this lab here, configuring a DHCP server. If I come in, it's going to tell me what I'm going to be doing, just like before. I start the lab. Let me make this comment. You'll see that it's loading. It does load this right away so the student knows what they're going to be doing and asked to do, but it takes just a few seconds. I'm here in the office, so we have pretty good internet connectivity. If a student's at home and they have dial-up, I don't know how well that would work. It would load, but it would take a little bit to load. I want to make that clear. It does depend on their machine and their internet connection on how quickly those loads, but you see typically just a few seconds. John, have you ever had an issue with loading times or machines or loading labs?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. So here we're asked to do some. I can go in and configure this server. I'll do just a little bit of it, but I'm going to go in. Well, I won't do much because you know how to do this. Both of you know way more than I do. So they're going to go and do all this. But what I wanted to point out more than anything in here is, now you see, yes, I'm working on the corp server in the networking closet right now on floor 1. But if I go all the way back out and look at building A, as they're going through this course build, yes, they're starting in building A on floor 1, and that's all they see, and they're doing it in a couple offices. As they're getting further into this course, in order for them to have a complete experience of learning what a network technician does and doing it, we're simulating multiple buildings, multiple floors. They can go to any of these buildings, and they will, and set stuff up and do different things in each of these offices. And they can go back and they can go to the basement in floor 1. Here's where the server is. And so they're going to go to all these locations at some point, and they're going to configure things, do things, set things up, etc. That's what I wanted to show you. So further into the course, yes, it's building. They have gone to all these buildings and done something. I'm going to have scored tremendously here. So I got a 0. Okay. Let me just quickly then click this outline button again and kind of review what we've seen. So in any of these sections, they're going to watch videos, they're going to read material, they're going to watch demonstrations of how things are done, they're going to get hands-on experience, and then they're going to get to a section where they're going to, there's 15 questions on this exam. We're going to quiz them on, I won't even read the question, so I'll do miserably on this too, but we're quizzing your students, and you can see how they're done. I think select 3 of these. Let's select 3 just for the fun. I can check my answer. I can do some things here, But let's say I'm done and it's telling me you didn't quite answer all the questions, but I'll say, okay, score me. Hey, that's not bad. I guessed right on one of them. We'll score them. We'll give them feedback. We'll even allow them to drill down to the ones they got right and wrong, and they can review what they did. Hey, the right answer was this, and we'll give them an explanation. We're all about, as John said, in his case, supplemental material. We're about giving that student feedback on what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, and helping them learn from the errors that they made. So that's all there for them. But these are scored, and if you want them sent back to Canvas, they will. If you don't, they're within our system, and you can see how they're doing, and we'll show you that in a bit. Okay, one last click of this outline button. Routing, firewalls, a lot of material within this courseware. When they get to the end, they have 18 months. If during the class you're not all that focused on certification, they can then come in here and they can use this material after the class is over. They can come in and use our practice material so that they can get ready for CompTIA's Network Plus exam. They can get ready for our Network Pro exam. We offer our own certification exams. I'll talk a little bit about those in a second. But if they want to get ready for CompTIA, we'll allow them to practice by domain. We'll allow them to take practice certification exams. So if I clicked on that, we'll simulate the way CompTIA does theirs. We'll give them 90 questions. We'll give them an hour and a half. We just said, hey, if they pass with 95%, they're probably ready to take CompTIA's exam. But they can go in and it will present 90 questions to them and they'll answer those. And when they're doing and you can see how they do on each of these practice exams. So if you're giving out vouchers for CompTIA's exam, and they're valuable, right, because they cost money, then you're not going to allow that student to have one until they've proven they can do these with some, 90-95% certainty of scoring well. Our exam. So with that $129 purchase bill, they get a voucher to take our certification exam at no additional cost. If they, for some reason, don't pass it the first time, they can pay $39 to purchase another voucher and take it again. But I want to point out some interesting differences between our exam and CompTIA's exam. We'll allow them to practice by domain just like we did with CompTIA, but if they take a sample practice exam of ours, we give them 2 hours and we only ask them 12 questions. Why? Because every single question we ask them is, do this. Do this. None of ours are multiple choice. They have to know which cable to use. They don't have to know where to connect it. They have to know how to configure. They have to prove they can actually do it in our exam. So our exam is completely 100% simulation based and proves that this student knows how to do these things, not just answer questions about how to do them. So in our humble opinion, we believe our exam is better, but that's, and we're getting better and better known in the industry, and corporations, et cetera, know us and will say, yeah, we value that exam. It's getting better known there. So they get that as part of that 129. Any questions on that?
Yeah, a couple things. One is just on both exams, on Network Plus practice. I'm sure that probably asking the obvious, student takes it more than a couple of times, they're going to get a random bank of questions from the Network Plus practice exam side.
That is completely correct. Yeah, we have a database of 1,100, 1,200 questions, and yes, we will randomize those.
And the second thing is, and maybe this is, I don't know if this might be more for Wallace's, I'm, with the Network Pro, your side of the exam. I mean, you said you're kind of getting recognized by industry. One of the things that we do in the VCCS, Virginia Community College System, is we do want students to earn these credentials because obviously it helps the college, helps the student and all. And do you know if your exam has been recognized by any of the colleges in the VCCS? I mean, imagine you do business with other community colleges in Virginia, because what we do is we can report these students passing these exams to the VCCS, and it kind of helps them as far as obviously them for their professional, and also from the credentialing standpoint from the college.
That's a great question. And I agree with it. They are very valuable to the students. I do not know that we're accepted by those. I will check with some other people. We've worked at getting on those state lists, and we are on several states, and so I've got to check with Virginia and see if that's true. So I'll get the answer and get back to you. But let me tell you that we do have some large. Strayer University is based out of Virginia, as you know. They work with us, or I work with them, and they're a large customer. I have a lot of online classes and use this for several, and they're using our certification exam as the final for all of the classes: networking, security, A+, and so they're using it and accepting it as valid and a good recognition of that student's skills. But
how about the DoD? Does the DoD recognize that your Network Pro?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Yeah. No, great questions. And it does take some time. CompTIA, that's all they've done. They're starting to expand in some other interesting areas that I question, but yet that's all they've done, and they are the big boy in the block, and we still want absolutely to prepare them to take that exam because it is valuable. But we just felt like when we developed our exam, we can offer a better exam, and as you know, CompTIA is trying to put some more simulation type questions on, but they're pretty slow to be able to do that. But anyway, so there's our exam. We give them feedback, right? Where were they weak? Where were they strong? We want them to understand what sections they need to go back to study and get better at what they're doing. And so we'll give them a lot of feedback and allow them to get better at what they're doing. So, all right.
May I offer something?
Please.
Yeah, a few days ago, actually, I think it was last week, we had a company-wide meeting, and the division that deals with private industry as well as military certification made it known to us that there is more and more adoption of our course materials for training. So the distinction is that our course materials satisfy the demands of those military bases that are using us to pass the CompTIA certification. As far as the direct answer to your question, is our pro certification recognized by the DoD? As Steve said, no, it isn't. But I think in lieu of that, the fact that it is being adopted by military bases pretty much is an indication of its effectivity. And that's all I wanted to add.
Thank you, Wallace. Yeah, that meaning a lot of government facilities, Army bases especially, are using our materials. So, okay, let me. We're getting near our time, but I'm going to click this home button. And it's going to take me back to where we started. I just wanted to very quickly, because I know you're interested in integrating our content into Canvas, and I think that's very wise. It does a lot of things the instructors and for your students to make it more efficient, effective, etc. But back here, I just wanted to show you that how easy it is, and John knows this because he's done it this way before, I'm sure. If I want to add a class, if I'm going to teach a networking class next term or summer term or whatever, I'm just going to say it is, what, CTE, I think is what yours is called, CTE 110, if I remember correctly. And
101, yeah.
101, sorry.
The course John's teaching? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
ITN 101.
ITN, sorry. And I'm going to say I'm teaching the class, and it's for summer of 2019, whatever I call my class. I'm logged in as a campus administrator, Bill, and so if you were doing this, you could say I'll assign it to Maria Farley, or I'll assign it to Craig Russin or Steve Eller, so you could actually create the class and give it to an instructor, whichever one you wanted. We're going to be using Network Pro in this class, so I've assigned the material. I can even enroll students. Typically, you don't have to do this because the student will enroll themselves, and if you're integrated with Canvas, you're doing, as part of that process, you're assigning students to classes, and they're automatically going into their proper class. And even if they're not integrated with Canvas, you won't have to do this because the student goes to the bookstore, purchases it, sets up their account. We walk them through. Do you want to join a school? They type in Tidewater Community College, they join it. Do you want to join a class? They type in ITN 101, Eller, Summer, they find it, they join it. So you won't typically have to do that, but I wanted to throw some students in there. I save it, and you'll see that now it comes up as one of the classes that I'm teaching. And if my students have done work, I can come over to this report section. We have plenty of different reports. I can run the report on a class grade book, and none of these pretend students have done any pretend work, but if they had, you would see it all here by, section 1. Did they do it? What was their score? How long did they watch the video? How long did they read the material? What were their exam scores? What were their lab scores? All that data would be here. I can see it by date range. I can do all that. I can export it to a CSV file, keep it forevermore, or put it into my LMS if we want it integrated. So all of that is here for you, and you can drill down as far as you want to drill down. I can go to this report, and I can see specific students. In this case, Susan, or I could look at Ben, and I see how they're doing. Their newest score, their highest score, their lowest score, their average score, how many times they did each of these sections, etc. So I can really, and as John was saying, he has a whole bunch of material that he already includes in his class. Then he has us as supplemental, has them do most of the labs. I'm probably right in that, John, right? You'll have them do all the labs within LabSim and then use videos, etc., of ours in places that you might want them to. But I can know how all of my students are doing. I can reach out to those that are struggling and help them because I freed up some time from doing some other things that our courseware has allowed you to do. So, okay. If we want them to take our certification exam, I can schedule our certification exam from the students in my class. Let's see, where's networking here? Did I pass it? I guess I did, didn't I? Maybe I didn't. I got too many courses in my portfolio here. There we are. I can schedule it for this new class I just created. If they're ready to take our certification exam, I can schedule it for them. I can provide passwords, and I can do all kinds of things to make sure it's the right student if this is an online class. I can schedule them all for the date that I want them to take it, the time I want them to take it, etc. And then I can see their scores and those who passed, yes, you can print out a certificate. They are now TestOut Network Pro certified. They can even pay us like $4 and we'll send them a laminated wallet card that says they're Network Pro certified, and they can put it on their resume. They go to a job interview. Hey, tell me about this Network Pro certification. Well, it's a completely simulation-based certification exam that proves I can do what you want me to do. And we even go as far as offering companies who hire then one of your students that is Network Pro certified. We say to that company, if this student doesn't have all the skills we say they have by certifying him as Network Pro certified, we'll pay you $1,000, and we haven't had to give up any of that money yet. So that's a good thing, because we're pretty confident that if they can pass our exam, they know how to do what we say they can do. Okay, I think I'm done walking through the material. Let me answer any other questions before we kind of sum up. Okay.
I was looking at your Network Pro cert. What I'd like to do is, I see, is there any more literature other than what's on your TestOut website about the Network Pro cert?
Most everything we'd have would be right there. I can see if we have some separate material and send it to you.
Because here's what I want to do is I want to run this up to our credentialing people and see if there's a possibility that the VCCS would accept this. That would make a difference.
Okay.
I'm not saying they would or will or won't, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
And the other thing is with the certification is, even though it's maybe not as known as other industry certifications at this point, I like the idea that it's simulation based on it. The other thing is it's obviously just proctored by the instructor, right? So yeah, okay. I don't know if that's so like obviously like with CompTIA and stuff, you have to go to a view testing center and things like that. But anyway, I'm looking at what I see here, and I'll if there's anything more that it can add in terms of anybody who's using it and accepting it as certification, that would be kind of helpful too. Because I think that's a good thing, and it looks like you have a nice product. It really does. Like I said to Wallace, we kind of have a faculty decision coming up. I think I definitely would like more faculty to see this. I would have liked, it was short notice. It was spring break last week when I talked to Wallace, so I didn't really get, and people are just kind of back to work here. So timing's always, one thing. I don't know if timing's ever any good for anybody anymore, but you know what I mean? Everybody.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Seems like we're always got something going on, but yeah, it's nice, and I know John's used it, and John's been an advocate for it, and I always appreciate when faculty go out and look for other things for their students. That's good.
Right. We should have some good feedback from you. John's been running a couple courses and using it, and should be some good data, John, that says how did the students do, what are their opinions. I would love it if you polled them and said, hey, what did you think and how did it go, and did you like it? Some good data there.
Yeah, I think we'll get some good feedback from students. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, it looks like really solid stuff. I like the way you have simulations, right in with the the operating systems and all. We just it's like I told Wallace, it's definitely a committee decision, and fortunately, we had just made some movement on this product about a year ago, and not your product, but on the ITN 101 class, and we tend to make movements about every 18 months. It's like Moore's law, even with IT books and content. Yeah. Well, but I like to really kind of push this out to the full-time. 10 of us who couldn't make it today, I have another one over in Chesapeake, and take a look at this thing. I had one other question too. Is it kind of came up in the beginning. You mentioned that there was like a team to work, reps, I guess, as a regional team or something that works with faculty to kind of help set these things up. If you kind of
Right,
go,
that's
that was
right.
sort of in the preamble a little bit early. Okay.
Yeah.
So, not adverse to coming in and training faculty, you know, coming in, setting up a couple of training dates on campus, those types of things.
Here's our little brochure on our implementation services. You know, yes, we're here from beginning to end. We'll, you know, what's the roadmap for getting this all set up, making sure it functions well? How do we integrate with your LMS? Course design, yes, and then what you were just saying, instructor training and onboarding. We're not opposed to coming out and doing some of that. Matter of fact, back to you need to have a committee vote on this, and I think that's the right thing to do for sure. If you want me to present to the whole committee, I'm happy to come out and visit and do that in person if that's what you would like, or do a webinar like we're doing now for all of those folks. Eventually give them access, let them mess with it if they want and see what their opinion is. But yes, we have a trainer that will do all of that for any of your instructors. And then, you know, how do we continue to improve and make your experience better? And so, yes, some very, very good people. Here's the lady that's in charge of all the training, and you would have Ken Clark as the guy that works with you on LMS integration. And so we have a team dedicated to that. I did want to point out, you'd raised the thing, you know, you've moved 18 months ago and textbooks change and things. I did want to emphasize how easy it is for us to keep our material up to, well, maybe not easy is the right word. We put a lot of work into keeping it current, but yet we're able to, because it's online, we're able to do that continuously. We're always updating it, and it's staying current. When CompTIA says they're going to have a new exam, we have that content ready because we partner with them and they give it to us before they release their new exams. And so we even updated our PC Pro last time, which is the A+ stuff, before CompTIA even released their new exams. So we stay really current on that. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a request. Dean Clement, the individuals that you want to run this by, like Professor Tenenfoss, would you like me to contact them and just provide in an email some information and access to these courses? At least
I think that'd be great.
Whatever.
I mean, I can send you their contact. I got a few full-time faculty that I'd like.
I'd appreciate that.
To do that,
okay.
Sure. And I could send you
go ahead
those names and emails back, and that, you know, and I can touch base with them. I know I haven't talked to one of the ones in another campus, like I said, because it was sort of spring break and I didn't really want to bug anybody. But yeah, let them know that, you know, this is out there, and there's something maybe, you know, it's worth looking at for sure. Okay.
Okay. Well, Bill, you mentioned the next step for you is you know, credentialing and talk to those folks about Network Pro, and I will get you the information, all the information that we have on our exam that I can get you that isn't on our website. So is going forward, and I'm not here to, you know, twist your arm in any way, but yet in going forward, that's the next step for you. Is there anything that you need us to do in following up on that, or doing anything else for you before that happens?
Yeah, I think we have a good action item. I mean, you know, the credentialing piece is kind of something, you know, and not to get too in the weeds on this, but and bore you guys, but we're down to like basically almost like a what's the term they use? It's like a merit-based funding. You know, like in other words, part of our funding is based on from the state of Virginia is, you know, how many students do this and how many students do that, and that means complete degrees. That means get industry credentials, all those types of things. So so this kind of plays into that, you know. It's you know, and that's something that, you know, the problem we kind of have in the community college, and a little bit, I mean, I really, you know, is we don't really want to be I was never an advocate of being. We're not certification trainers. You know what I mean? We're not. We want students to learn the content. We like the hands-on piece. That's one of the things that's always really separated community college from some of the others. Even these boot camp trainings. I mean, I've sat through them, you know, and you basically, you know, watch a 4,000 PowerPoint slides and you never touch anything. So, you know, these types of things are good things, you know, the hands-on, you know, not only that, the touch and physical things in the classroom as well. But part of it is certification is part of it. You know, we're in an area in Virginia Beach that, you know, that's why I kind of asked about DoD contracts, because, you know, students get jobs just having an A+ certification. Now, you know, I mean, right, wrong, and different, you know, I'm just telling you how it is. Sometimes what happens is you got these contracting companies, they land a contract and they're like, now they need bodies. And they can't get people out on the base unless they have a certification. So having even the Net Plus embedded in that with the practice exam is really a good step. You know, and kind of my initial thought was, you know, we would love to be able to, you know, like you mentioned, Steve, like about, you know, vouchers. You know, we just don't have the money to do that, you know, and we don't really, we just sort of make it as a mapped component to the class. You know, like John, I think, is doing this. Like John is going to say, hey, you know, and I'm an advocate for this. If you take the Net Plus certification, you know, and you pass it, you know, at the end of the course, basically that's your final exam, and you're getting an A for your final exam. You know, I mean, those are good carrots, I think, to put out there for folks. Yes. The cost to it, you know. Even the academic cost from CompT, I think, is costing us about $220 for that exam.
Wow.
I think it's about $3 something normally, and we can get students a discount. But yeah, I think we want to entice more people to do those kinds of things. I think it's important. You know, you hear different things from different people, but I think it just depends on what sector they work in. You know, some of the more private sectors don't see necessarily the certs as being as important as the people in the DoD contract sector, and that's just the land we live in down here.
It is. You know? It is an interesting environment we live in, isn't it? It's changing all the time, but it's an interesting environment. Okay, I will get you that information about our certification, and keep in mind, networking, security. We've announced in the last couple of weeks that we'll have an ethical hacking course in the not too distant future.
Okay.
So we're expanding our offerings, and
what's the distant future on the ethical hacking course?
We're hoping for August. Now that's me keeping my fingers crossed that it will be ready for fall term, but August? That it will be the end of this month that we'll have a definite on that release date, and it will be. Pardon?
I was just going to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but is it in line with EC Council? Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, and let me ask you this: are all your courses basically priced the same, like $129? Or they vary?
They're all $129. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Doesn't matter if it's the ethical hacking course or the intro to networking.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Well, I appreciate your time, Bill. I hope it was helpful for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'll be in touch. And Wallace, and if you can send Wallace those other instructor names that he can get them access, I think that'd be a great starting point. Anyway.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. Dean, I've got one clarification I need. So you started using the other product about a year ago. I'm assuming that was Packet Tracer.
Well, no, it was the I pulled it up earlier. It's not Packet Tracer is just one of the tools we're using in the class, but it's it's the CompTIA book.
I see.
It's a CompTIA Network Plus book, and it's got some simulation labs and things like that in it as well.
Okay. And you said normally you do about 18 months trial, and so does that mean that
it varies? Yeah, I mean, you know, with these, it's more predicated on when the exams change. You know, with Net Plus, A Plus, and Security Plus, and those types of areas. Cisco, the same thing. But we are Cisco Academy, but some of the areas might benefit from this type of product more than others. you know, a lot of faculty have really kind of, you know, we have in-house virtual VHD. We have a lot of stuff going on. We use Virginia Cyber Range. But, you know, to get a simulation like what you're doing, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, I don't think there's that, some of this stuff doesn't look like it's that good, some of the stuff I've seen before.
Okay, thanks.
You know, as far as your networking, you know, plugging in Cat5 cables and being able to go to room views and floor views, that's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
May I jump in with one comment, please?
Sure, John.
Hello? Yeah, with the Pearson book, they still use a product key where you have to actually install the program on a computer, and that just causes a multitude of problems. Whereas this is truly an online resource. And you know, you don't have to worry about licenses or installations or the number of installations. And I think that is a big factor to consider.
Yeah. Okay.
We agree. We agree.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
Sure.
All
Thank you all for at least starting the conversation. I sure appreciate your time.
Hey.
We appreciate it too.
All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Okay,
Y'all have
thank you.
a great day and a good week ahead of you.
right,
I'll
thanks.
await that email when you get a chance, Dean Clement.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. All right, bye.
Bye.